Want to fly over obstacles like this? Today, I'm breaking down exactly how to learn your first Kong vault step by step, safely and efficiently. Let's get into it. So before we jump in, you should definitely feel comfortable jumping off your feet and onto your hands. Here's a really simple drill you guys can try to get comfortable going from your feet to your hands on an elevated surface. I'd recommend using a bench, a table, if you have access to a ledge like this one, that works great too, or even your kitchen countertop at home. Make sure the emphasis on this is lifting your hips up above the level of your hands. If you lift too low, you're gonna clip your feet on the edge of the counter. And if you go too high, you might end up doing a front flip. All right, the easiest next step is to try tucking your knees into your chest, placing your feet on top of the counter. At this point, you should be comfortable transferring your weight from your feet to your hands, and you should be able to get your feet all the way up. If you're having problems, make sure you lift those hips up even higher, because that's probably where it's coming from. All right, now we're gonna add in the run up, because obviously a Kong vault is not a Kong vault if you're not doing it quickly. Now make sure you start slow before you speed it up too fast, and you lose control and you go over your head. So start with a slight jog, run up. Again, same drill, hands on top, pop your hips up, try to land on your feet if you can. Now make sure when you're doing this, your hands are not too close together or too wide apart. If they're too wide, you're gonna have a really hard time getting enough height to bring your feet through, but if they're too close, you're gonna run into the opposite problem, and you're not gonna have enough space to get your legs through. Shoulder width apart is best to start with and kind of modify from there. All right, and once you can do all of that with a slight run up or even a full speed run up, the last step is to practice the follow through. Now this is usually where people trip up and end up actually tripping up, catching their toes on the edge of whatever they're trying to vault over. So make sure you're feeling comfortable getting your hips high enough in the air before you decide to follow through. But once you're able to land successfully on your feet pretty much every time, you're ready for the next step. So following through is pretty simple. The only key is you gotta keep your hips up in the air a little bit longer so you can swing through with your arms. I like to think about pulling the surface underneath me behind me, and that's what's gonna get you forward momentum. Now you can always rely purely on speed for this too. If you just run super fast, you basically tap your hands down and you kind of did Kong vault, but not really. If you really want to do a true Kong vault, you need to use your hands to guide yourself through or over the obstacle. And again, the key to that is getting your hips up high enough to allow more time in the air for your hands to take over and do the work. Remember, you're pulling behind you. Don't think about pushing off, because then you might end up bouncing up and lose your footing when you land. And there you have it. If you follow those steps, you should be able to do a Kong vault at this point. Learning the Kong vault opens the door to so many other types of vaults, combos, and tricks that you can do, including the double Kong, which is super awesome and definitely a lot harder than the regular Kong. If you like this video, make sure you comment down below which skill I should break down in my next tutorial, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss it. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.